Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation, your everyday Rangers news channel, guys. Channel that brings you all the latest on the club for free, for nothing, guys. No paywall, no Patreon. All the access to all the content is nothing. All you got to do, hit the sub. Well, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk obviously about the postponement of last night's game. Very disappointing. Obviously, we missed out on watching Rangers. Also for another couple of reasons. But then there was positives as well. We'll talk about those. We're going to talk a little bit about that lot from across the city. Obviously, as we build up towards the Old Firm game on Saturday. A few jokes to make at their expense too. Also going to touch on a possible left back that Rangers could maybe go for. An option that's been discussed, especially if Ridvan moves on in January, and that is Josh Doig, who many believe we should have signed from Hibernian before he headed off to play for Hellas Verona in Italy. So let's talk a little bit about the last night's game. So, as you know, I had a phenomenal response to the video, guys. Just a little video put out yesterday about the game being postponed, and phenomenal response to that video yesterday. Thank you so much for your support for that video. So, as we know, that the game was cancelled, not because of anything to do with Ibrox, but solely because of the transportation links down from Ross County down to Ibrox. Big issues on the A9 apparently. Snow. Certainly the videos that I've seen were absolutely horrific. The amount of snow that was out there and the difficulty in travelling. Now, some people have questioned they call them Notts County, Ross County's professionalism a little bit. Sort of talking about the fact that should they not have travelled down the night before? Surely they would have known what the weather forecast was. Does this not just show how amateur they in fact are? Look, I think that is partly it. Yeah, there is that realization, but I don't think it's just for the Ross County team in terms of travelling. It's also for the safety of the supporters. Not only the supporters travelling down from Dingwall, but also the supporters of Rangers as well. Because as we know, Rangers fans come from all over Scotland and all over the UK, and as such, transporting over long distances like that can be dangerous, and we don't want obviously anyone risking their lives to go to a football game. So certainly the right decision on that level. Also, the right decision for a number of other reasons. But first of all, before talking about why else it was a good decision, I just want to praise Rangers because apparently all the food that was prepared for last night's game. So we're talking obviously concessions food, we're talking food for the press box, food for the hospitality, etc., etc. Apparently, all that food was donated to charity, to a food bank charity, which is absolutely fantastic by Rangers, and I think Rangers deserve a massive load of respect for doing that, guys. To obviously give that away for free. I know it was going to be probably wasted anyway, and I know there's going to be the cynic that says, "Well, there you go." But I think it is credit to the club that they've done that. Credit to the club that they've gone and given it to those less fortunate. And that's fantastic, absolutely superb. So, big respect to the club for doing that. Another reason why it was a positive as well, I think, is look, it gives the players more rest. They haven't got to play tonight. It gives Philippe Clement more time on the training park because let's face it, tomorrow now he hasn't got to do a recovery session because there hasn't been a game. He's got time to actually work with the players, to coach the players and get them ready for the game on Saturday against that lot from across the city. And also, maybe some time, possibly, hopefully, perhaps, to get some of those injured players back as well, or at least close to being back, if not for the game on Saturday, at least for the Killy game, which comes up on the 2nd of January. So, there's options there. And I think anything that gives the players a rest at this stage of the season that is a positive. You in this festive period where you are playing pretty much Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, or Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, or whatever it is. You do need time off, I think, and time for the players to get there, to rest, to get back to full fitness. And also, that when you're playing constantly and training constantly, you've got that muscle fatigue issues, and Rangers are a team that obviously suffered from big muscle injury problems, and anything that sort of decreases the chances of the players getting injured has got to be a positive. So, that is that is good. Yes, there is the negative in the fact that, well, two negatives really, in the fact that number one, it kind of kills the momentum a little bit. If Rangers had gone out there tonight and smashed Ross County in the way that many people were projecting, given the way they played first half, especially against Motherwell, if we'd seen a repeat of that last night at Ibrox, I do think that Ross County would have been put to the sword. But obviously, yeah, that's part of it. And you do worry slightly that momentum has been broken going into the game on Saturday. In addition to that, had Rangers played tonight and won tonight, or last night, sorry, then you know, it would have been a case of if we beat that lot on Saturday, we go top of the league. So that can no longer happen now unless we win against that lot from across the city and beat Kilmarnock and they slip up again, which I don't think is likely at this moment in time. So obviously there's that bit. We still have the games in hand, of course we do, which is a positive. Look, do you know what? What always makes me laugh though, it proper makes me laugh, is, and I know that social media is not the best place to look on. Social media is a poisonous place. Of course it is. Of course it is. I get slaughtered enough on there. But some of the stuff that was coming out yesterday on social media after the game was postponed was bordering on hilarious. I mean, almost paranoid. I mean, number one, you've got this conspiracy theory that Celtic fans say that Rangers postponed the game so they could get extra rest for the game against them, and it's got nothing to do with the weather. The weather is down to even Celtic fans, you know, daring to suggest that there's no weather issues and that they were going to drive up the A9 to prove there was no weather issues. And do you know what? I fully expect that there's at least a couple of Celtic fans that have done that. I really do. They are an absolute sad, just bunch of losers. They really are pathetic, and their obsession with Rangers is quite frightening, actually. How obsessed they are. It's bordering on stalker-like behaviour, the sort of behaviour that, you know, you would you get a restraining order against someone if they were that obsessed with you as a person. You know, if you had a person that was that obsessed with you as they are with Rangers, you'd get a restraining order against them. You really would. Look, the fixtures, obviously that game has got to be played somewhere, and that is obviously an issue where it's put in. There is the worry that obviously the league, we know the SFA, the rumour is obviously that they favour Celtic, that they'll put it in somewhere to cause the maximum possible disruption to Rangers. That is obviously the fear. I'll let you have your own opinion on that. I'm not going to get into that discussion. I'm not going to get into the argument here and now. But overall, you know, you've got to say, you know, it is a worry where they're going to put that fixture. It really is. Now, we look at the league table going in to Saturday. Even obviously, Hearts got 3 more points. They won tonight. Again, Lawrence Shankland scoring the goal. Interesting that. Get them. Rangers, just put the bid in. Put the bid in. Get him. But Rangers, we're obviously only focusing on the top 2. So Rangers 2 games in hand on Celtic, 5 points behind. They're on 48. We're on 43. Like I said, had we won the game last night, it goes to 46. Only 2 points. We beat them on the 30th. We go top of the league. So, look, it would have been nice, wouldn't it? It really would have been nice going into the Old Firm to have that victory, you know, to have given the chance of, had we beaten them on the 30th. And you know what? I'm going to talk a little bit in this video about why I think we will beat them. There obviously was some games tonight in the SPL as well. So the games tonight finished. Hearts 1, Hibs 0. Lawrence Shankland getting the goal. St Mirren 0. Kilmarnock winning yet again. Like I've said all along, do you know what? The game that worries me most is not the Old Firm on the 30th. It's actually Killie. Killie won away at St Mirren. They're in really good form at the moment. Derek McInnes has got them playing some great stuff. Marley Watkins with the goal. They played, you know, they apparently played quite well as well. So Killie are a worry. And Livingston 0, St Johnstone 0 in the basement battle. Interesting. That is certainly very interesting indeed. So there we go. That's the results from tonight. We obviously now build towards the big game on Saturday. But like I said, it is Killie that worry me slightly more than that lot across the city. Now, there's news coming out of Celtic. They have lost 2 of the last 5 games, although apparently the game they played on Boxing Day against Dundee, they played an awful lot better and gave a very good performance by all accounts. So I've been told, I know because I haven't watched it. I wouldn't watch it, don't want to watch it. Jamie, not interested. The only time I ever watch Celtic is when they play against Rangers. According to the rumours, obviously around that team at this moment in time, Carter Vickers might be out injured, which is obviously good news. That one of their top defenders will be missing. So look, it is that's a positive. That's a positive. But look, I don't want to focus on them. I don't really want to talk about them because the focus has to be on us. It really does have to be on Rangers. That's where the focus lies. And you know, for me, if we play as well as we can play, even with the injuries, which are a major concern, don't get me wrong, and we'll talk about the injuries in a moment. Philippe Clement, I honestly believe, will have this team set up and ready to go on Saturday. And if our players, the Seamers, the Cantwells, Ross McCausland. If those guys play as well as they can play, they're more than a match for them. And I think what a lot of people seem to forget is even when we were pretty pish, like we were in the first Old Firm game under that absolutely garbage manager that we had at the time, Michael Beale, we actually nearly beat them. In fact, we should have probably beaten them. There was that goal, 2 goals chalked off. One was offside. The other one was chalked off for absolutely no good reason whatsoever. The goal that we conceded was a complete gift. They didn't open us up. We had some decent chances in that game. Their goal was actually created by our stupidity, letting Kyogo run off us to score that goal. So for me, they're not a good team. They're a team that are not the Ange Postecoglou Celtic, the machine, the relentless winning machine. They're certainly not that anymore. And they are weak in areas and they are gettable. I think that, Philippe Clement, even with the injury worries we've got, I think it will have more than enough to set this team up to be successful against them. He has that determination to succeed. He always prepares the team, never ever to have any surprises, to know exactly what's going to happen. If a team does this, this is what they're going to do. If a team tries this, this is what they're going to do. From a corner, they're going to do this, this, or this. So the team is fully prepared, and Clement ensures that happens, and that will put us in a great, give us a great opportunity to beat them on Saturday. Now, I would love to see someone coming back. Midfield options would be brilliant. At the moment, it looks like it'll be Dowell and Sterling to start. Worries over Connor Goldson as well going into the game on Saturday. Hopefully, Connor's fit. It would be lovely, wouldn't it, if we could have one of Jack or Raskin or Lunny back for the Old Firm game. As much as, I think that Dowell and Sterling did a great job at when they played last. And they did against Motherwell. I honestly think that if we could get Jack back or Raskin, well, Raskin ain't going to be back, but Jack back or even Lundstrom back, it would strengthen the team. It would give us slightly more options, certainly. So, look, it is something I do hope that we can get one of those few players back. But look, this team is more than capable of beating this Celtic team. It really is. Tactically, we will be better than we were in that first Old Firm game. There won't be any ridiculous long balls for Dessers to chase, with Dessers with no pace, and that's your option. Smash it over the top for someone with no pace. Ridiculous. Clement will have this team set up tactically right to beat them, and he will know how to set this team up, how to get their mindset right, ready for the game. And we have a different mindset now. This is a completely different positive mindset Rangers to the team that they played at Ibrox at the start of the season. And like I said, last game we weren't too far away. Like I said, that Roof goal was disallowed. Why? To me, and then the other option, this just made absolutely zero sense, was putting Roof to man mark Callum McGregor. I mean, what the hell was that all about? Putting our best striker on their midfielder. For me, on Saturday, stick Dujon Sterling on him. Let Dujon Sterling kick him all over the park. Let Dujon Sterling sit on top of him and not let him move anywhere. You stop Callum McGregor, you stop Celtic. Simple as. And Dujon Sterling has got, with his defensive abilities, his reading of the game, his tackling, his work rate, more than enough to beat and stop Callum McGregor. Really, really has. And that for me would be a great option. In terms of the team that I would play on Saturday, this is my team. Like I said, I'm kind of reticent to name a team this early because of the fact that we haven't had the press conference yet. We don't know who's out injured, who's back, etc. Hopefully there'll be somebody back. And it's because as we all know, Philippe Clement loves talking about injured players. Okay, so this is how I've gone with Jack Butland in goal. Back four, I think James Tavernier picks himself. He's been fantastic the last few weeks, and his goals have been absolutely key. And we all know how he loves to come up with a goal against them. Look at the last performance at Parkhead, that header, the free kick that stunned the piggery into silence was fabulous. Now, I put Goldson or Suter. Hopefully Connor Goldson's fit. If he's not, I think you've got to go with John Suter. John is an excellent, he's a better defender when he plays on the right side for me. He makes mistakes, he jumps under the ball, he's not left-footed. For me, John Suter plays there if Connor Goldson's not fit. Leon Balogun has got to play. I mean, Leon arguably has been our best defender this season. He's been brilliant, since he's kind of stepped up into that starting role, absolutely superb. And he's been talking to the media about that, and look out for a video dropping later about Leon and what he's had to say to the media about his time under Philippe Clement and his starting for Rangers. I think Borna comes back in because I just think he's taller. He's got a physical presence. He adds a little bit more. Yes, I know he's had a few nightmares against them at Parkhead, but for me, Van hasn't taken his chance in the last couple of games. So you go with Borna there. Sterling and Dowell, again, if Jack's not back, if Lunny's not back, what other options do you have? So for me, it's got to be Dowell and Sterling sitting. And like I said, sit Doig on Sterling on Callum McGregor. That for me is the way forward. Ross McCausland's got to start. I think he's had a rest now. Hopefully that'll help. Plus, I think his pace will scare them. His directness will scare them. Their fullbacks aren't brilliant. And he's a Rangers boy. He loves Rangers. And playing against that lot, he's going to be inspired to do his best. TC hates them. Cantwell hates them with a passion. We know that. Hopefully he can pull out his best performance. Would love to see him score at Parkhead because they will go into absolute meltdown. Seamer, again, for me, has to start. Just a natural goal scorer, best finisher at the club. Work rate is excellent. I think Borna looks better at fullback and more confident at fullback when he's got Seamer in front of him. And as for the striker, well, Cyril Dessers, it has to be. Why? Because there's nobody else, is there? There really is genuinely nobody else. Look, Philippe Clement will have this team ready. He will. He'll ensure that it's fully prepared, its tactics are spot on, it has a clear vision, a clear way of playing, and it goes out there with the best opportunity to beat them and really, really lay down a marker for the second half of the season. And like I said, hopefully then go into the Killie game with a bit more positivity. Like I said, that is the game that does slightly worry me. Would a draw be a disaster? Probably not, no, with the 2 games in hand. Would a defeat be a disaster? Yes, it would, absolutely, because we need to lay down a marker now. Obviously, as the week goes on, as we build up towards Saturday, we will continue to build up here on the channel. So that's pretty much the game stuff. Now, I was thinking about players the other day, and as we head towards January, we're going to be linked, aren't we, with every man, his dog, his chicken, his elephant's hen, and so on and so forth. It looks like the Kevin Van Veen stuff is a load of rubbish because what I'm hearing is the club are saying there's no truth in it, and that is certainly not someone they are pursuing. So it does see that Rangers have ruled out any deal for Van Veen. Now, a player that has certainly been across Rangers' radar before is Josh Doig. Now, Josh Doig is, as a lot of you will know, a very promising, talented defender. Very much good. He plays left back, left side centre half. He can play as well. He's very, very talented. Now, Josh Doig is currently playing in Italy with Hellas Verona, but he's not getting a lot of game time. Why? Because there's a young Italian left back who they're using ahead of Josh Doig in the team. So for me, I would be looking at possibly getting a bid in there, for January, if not, perhaps taking him on loan with an option to buy at the end of the season. He's 21 years old. Like I said, he can play left back, he can play centre half, he can play left wing back, he can play a number of different positions, and he's certainly one of those modern, flexible hybrid players, very much like Dujon Sterling. Borna Barisic is out of contract. We know that. And there's no word yet on whether he gets a new deal. Ridvan could be off in January. So for me, someone like Josh Doig could actually be a really good option for Rangers in January. Like I said, possibly a loan to buy because they can offer him first team football, whereas Verona can't. Verona could be willing to do a deal, especially if they got an option, if they're getting to get some money at the end of it to sell the player. Like I said, we arguably should have signed him when he was transferred to Verona for 3 million, especially when we paid more for Ridvan, and arguably Ridvan has been worse. Like I said, he's 6'2", he's a big guy. He's made 62 appearances for Hibs, scoring a single goal. He made 7 appearances on loan for Queen's Park. And Hellas Verona, he's made 30 appearances, scoring 2 goals. He has a current market value of €7 million, which is about £6 million. And I think, yes, he is under contract until 2026, so it's not a case of just waiting for him contract to run down. But at 21, at such a young age, Doig really could be a good option for Rangers, as we seek to as well bring the average age of that defence down and kind of remold that defence. A young defender like Josh Doig, who is also Scottish as well, I think could really add to this team. So, look, could Doig be someone we look at, especially if we do have to go for a left back if Ridvan leaves this in January, which apparently a lot of Turkish media are reporting that Gala and Besiktas are both sniffing round him. So, look, Josh Doig could be a good option. Like I said, it could be a loan with an option to buy, or it could be just going straight away and buy him. Depends very much how much money Rangers do have in this transfer window. But Josh Doig, I think, is certainly someone that Rangers should be considering. Well, guys, let me know what you think of the stories we've covered in this video. As always, I'd love to read your comments. I always try and reply to them, unlike a lot of other channels. Thank you so much for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. If you can hit that sub, ring that notification bell, it would be brilliant. And on the way out, as always, there's 2 things I ask of you. Number 1, smash the like. And number 2, remember, never forget, our city, we are the people.